afternoon, Walter Jackson. How y'all doing out there? I hope you're mighty fine, and I'm sorry that I had to miss you today. My daughter is in a cross-country race this afternoon, so as you're watching this, I'm probably driving over there right now to watch her. Running runs in our family, and so does reading. Hopefully you enjoy both those things too. And speaking of running, you can probably tell by what I'm wearing and what I've been talking about in the library. It is pumpkin run time at Walter Jackson. Every year we read this book and head outside and run and read, and I have all kinds of fun pumpkin related activities. You can see how much I love pumpkins because I even got a pumpkin in here and books over my other shoulder. Can't get enough of this good stuff. So because I'm gone today and some of you haven't heard the book yet this year, I wanted to make sure you hear it before our run next week. So get comfortable. Hope the speakers are turned up good and high for you. And here, my friends, is The Pumpkin Runner by Marcia Diane Arnold. And I just talked to Miss Arnold this week, and she's going to be video chatting with us again, just like years past. So be thinking about some questions you might have for her about being an author or where she got the idea for this book, and you'll get to ask them to her next week, possibly. So here we go with The Pumpkin Runner. She even autographed it a few years ago for us. Run all your races with joy, she says. She was here in 2016. Some of you might have been here that year. Some of you fifth graders might have been itty bitty when she was here. Nearly all the sheep ranchers in Blue Gum Valley rode horses or drove jeeps to check on their sheep. But Joshua Summerhays liked to run with Yellow Dog trailing behind him. Joshua had been running for 50 years, ever since he was 10 years old. That was the year his family had planted a pumpkin patch behind their clapboard ranch house, where the sun sparkled through the eucalyptus trees near Blue Gum Creek. When the pumpkins had grown as round as a wombat's belly, young Josh stopped by to enjoy a golden slice. He felt such an energy from the sun-filled pumpkin that he pulled on his orange gumboots, shuffled a dance in the dusty earth, and took off running with the great-great-great-grandfather of Yellow Dog trailing behind. That day he ran 40 kilometers all the way to Cockatoo Canyon just to check on a newborn lamb. Must be the way the sun shines through the eucalyptus trees that gives the pumpkins that extra spark, Aunt Millie had said as she watched Josh's dust trail. Now, Joshua was getting on up in years, and every January at the Sheep Ranchers' Woolly Bully Barbecue, the ranchers teased him. "You're getting mighty old to be running all over a 10,000-acre sheep ranch," said Rancher Wadley. "When you going to buy a Jeep?" Oh, Joshua smiled and shuffled his gumboots in the dust. "I like to run," he said. "As long as he's got pumpkins to eat, he'll keep running at it, Aunt Millie." Now, one day, Josh and Yellow Dog were resting on the porch after a long run over to Bandicoot Creek when the wind blew a newspaper smack into Josh's face. When he opened his eyes, he read 12th Annual Koala K Race, 900 kilometers from Melbourne to Sydney, May 4th, $10,000 prize. It's been a while since we visited the city, Yellow Dog, Josh said. We could see 2 cities and get in a little run as well. Yellow Dog thumped his tail against the wooden porch planks. I'd say Yellow Dog is ready to run. Josh packed a clean pair of overalls and his newest pair of gumboots for the run. Rancher Wadley offered his Jeep for the trip. "Mighty grateful, mate," said Joshua, piling the last pumpkin from his patch into the Jeep as Aunt Millie loaded her cooking tools. "Not sure I could carry all the pumpkins I'll need for a 900-kilometer run." The morning was still dark when Josh pulled up to the runner's registration table in Melbourne. Mr. Manning, the race official, looked over his glasses at the lanky man driving the Jeep, the Yellow Dog sitting beside him, and the old woman snoring atop a pile of pumpkins. You sure you're in the right place?" he asked. "If this is the Koala K," answered Josh, "I've come to run." Doesn't look like a runner, does he? But he is. Wanting to be friendly, Josh and Yellow Dog introduced themselves to the 8 other runners while Aunt Millie got a few more winks. "I've run 200 kilometers a week," For 3 months training for this run, said Damien Dodgerell, raising one eyebrow at Joshua and looking down his long nose at Yellow Dog. And you? Well, I just checked my herds from sun up to sundown, said Joshua. There he is right there. The other runners just don't know what to make of him. I train every day with 300-pound weights, Damien continued, doing a one-handed push-up. Well, I carry an injured sheep in now and again, Josh replied. I wonder what weighs more, weights or a sheep? A sheep can get heavy. Reporters pushed Josh aside as they threw questions at Damien. Word was out he was a shoe-in to win. Joshua was shoved into Katerina Volta, who was gulping down a vial of purple liquid. It's my specially formulated energy drink, she explained. Katerina's secret power punch. Now, at that moment, Mr. Manning stopped by. We're setting up the food and water stops along the course. What can we take for you, Mr. Summerhays? Well, that jeep full of pumpkins should do, Josh answered. Just give Aunt Millie a map of the course. As starting time approached, Josh changed into his fresh pair of overalls and clean boots. Nylon shorts and running shoes are the usual attire for a runner, said Mr. Manning, staring at Josh's orange gum boots. Ah, these do me on the ranch, Josh answered. Guess they'll do me here. Those are sharp boots if you ask me. As the sun called up the morning, spectators lined the road. A few of the young ones snickered and giggled at the gray-haired man in overalls and gumboots. Yellow Dog growled softly, but Josh said, never mind now. Banners flew above the crowd. Peddlers sold sun lotion and sodas. Reporters floated overhead in balloons, snapping photos. The other runners started to flex and stretch. But Josh, he just nibbled a slice of pumpkin. Not even worried, is he? Just ready to run. At 2 minutes till 8, the crowd grew quiet. Banners stopped flying. Peddlers stopped selling. Balloonists hovered in anticipation. At precisely 8 a.m., Mr. Manning sounded the starting gun. 8 runners sped swiftly past the cheering spectators. Josh shuffled by waving, while Yellow Dog sniffed the ground to get his bearings. And they're off. As they passed through the city, 8 runners looked straight ahead. Josh called hello to the rowing crews on the River Yarra. Yellow Dog barked greetings to the trolley passengers. By afternoon, the runners were deep in the countryside and tiring, except Joshua. He kept pulling a slice of pumpkin from his pocket and chewing on it. He'd give a slice to Yellow Dog and they'd keep shuffling along steady-like. By the first stop at Wallaby Ridge, Joshua was running alongside the others. As Katerina Volta gulped her secret power punch, Josh and Yellow Dog ate Aunt Millie's pumpkin stew. Then Josh ran off like it was another day on the sheep ranch, and he was going to check a mother ewe at Dry Creek Landing. A beautiful country, Australia, isn't it? The third day, word got out that the sheep rancher wearing overalls and gum boots was leading the race. A crowd was at Platypus Pond to cheer him through Aunt Millie's pumpkin soup. The day after that, the newswire told the world about Joshua. Photographers from Paris to Hong Kong were at Wombat Flat to watch Josh and Yellow Dog enjoy their pumpkin seed pudding. Whoa, not too many pictures, Josh said. Yellow Dog is camera shy. Doesn't look shy, does he? The world was so busy watching Josh shuffling along that the other racers were nearly forgotten. But Damien Dodgerell had not forgotten the $10,000 prize. When one of the balloons dropped down for repairs, Damien made a deal with the balloonist. Half the prize money for a shortcut over Wollongong. What's he doing? That's right. He's cheating, that stinker. Josh and Yellow Dog were within 20 kilometers of the finish line when Damien Dodgerell caught sight of them. Send me down in front of them, on the other side of that wattle grove, Damien shouted. Just as the balloon was about to set down, a jeep half filled with pumpkins roared out of the grove. Aunt Millie had spent all night baking a pumpkin victory cake, and she was late for the last stop. What do you think's going to happen? Jeep's coming out. Balloon's coming down. As she swerved to miss the balloon swayed to miss her, and Damien ended smack in the middle of mashed pumpkins. Aunt Millie ended smack in the middle of squash cake, and the balloon ended smack on top of the jeep. Ew, cheater, pumpkin eater. When Josh and Yellow Dog arrived at the last check-in, Millie and the pumpkins were nowhere to be seen. Yellow Dog sniffed the ground and whimpered. Josh sat down and pondered what to do without his pumpkin energy. As the sun sparkled through the eucalyptus trees onto Josh's head, he felt the energy racing through his body the way it raced through sun-filled pumpkins. Josh got up and shuffled a dance in the dusty earth. Well, now, Yellow Dog, we've come here to run, and that's just what we're going to do. But this last bit of running we'll be doing on our own. Think he's going to make it? You got enough energy left? Let's see. What do you think? Looks pretty good, doesn't it to you? Nearing the finish line, Josh waved hello to the cheering crowds. The snickering boys and giggling girls were now clapping and jumping up and down. Yellow Dog held his head high. 2 days and 2 hours off the record, Mr. Manning exclaimed, running up with a silver trophy. The crowd squeezed around as Mr. Manning presented Josh the check for $10,000. Josh split the winnings with his fellow runners, even Damien Dodgerell. He kept only enough for new overalls and gumboots and gave the rest of his share to Rancher Wadley to repair the Jeep and to Aunt Millie for new cooking tools. Yellow Dog and I just came for the run, he said. Now, it's been some years since Josh Summerhays broke the record in that famous Koala K race. These days, all the other sheep ranchers in Blue Gum Valley steer four-wheel drives and fly airplanes to check on their sheep. But Joshua Summerhays still likes to run with Yellow Dog trailing behind him. So boys and girls, remember this was based on a true story. There was a real man, Australian farmer, named Cliff Young, who loved to run in gum boots. I know this man's name is Joshua. Next week, if everything works out, I'll show you some videos of the real-life pumpkin runner, Cliff Young. And all of you get to be little pumpkin runners next week. So enjoy your time in the library today. I'll see you real soon. Get a great book, and we'll talk to you later. Bye. I better run. I don't want to be late. See y'all.